Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next level tactics. From offsite and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition. Now, here's your host, Timothy Carter.
Thanks for joining me on the podcast. Today we're going to talk about 15 ways you might be over-optimizing your website. So, the concept of optimizing a website for marketing meant big expansion. Extending audience reach was the number one goal of any online marketing campaign. But, since the introduction of the Google Penguin penalty, almost a decade ago, the realities of over-optimizing a site has been pushed to the forefront of everyone's mindset. So now when a professional builds an online marketing strategy, one of the best things they can do is consult with a webmaster, a web developer, or designer in building value into a website, rather than promote losses with extensive inbound linkage. So, if it's been determined that, your website is over optimized, the next step is to kind of control for future penalty risk by conducting a comprehensive quote unquote triage on the domain. So prior to establishing the parameters to a new marketing campaign, testing of potential backlinks and other causes leading to Google penalties, make sure that time invested is not wasted. You want to make sure you've got all those things on point. After the website has been evaluated for, penalty causing over optimization, a little channel marketing magic can renew that site once again. So, the best link building strategy adds to content marketing value rather than subtract from website performance. Once a marketing strategy goes live, continuous monitoring of the performance is important to eliminate the risk of future over-optimization. So, here are 15 ways, a website may be over-optimized, accompanied by some tips on how to diagnose and ultimately avoid penalty issues stemming from keyword content, SEO advertising, and backlink building. Number one, domain address length. Websites with long domain addresses can over-optimize a site if keywords are a part of the address. The best addresses represent brand identity. When adding blogs and other static content, the organic nomenclature of the brand can be integrated as an anchor in a unique address in place of arbitrary reference. This manages two risks. One, visitors will be able to locate content externally or in a search, and two, over optimization will be null and void. Number two, internal website links. Excessive page navigation on a single website will inevitably lead to over optimization. While it still serves to have a few pages with standard anchors to map your inbound links to a website from, say, an external SEO link building campaign or other marketing collateral, the danger of creating content, or actually not creating content, the danger of creating a plethora of inner links, internal links to your site is kind of obvious. So you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it on your homepage optimization, especially with your navigation. Another thing talking about your site would be duplicate page content. Duplicating page content on a single website, can lead to over optimization, in the eyes of Google. So when designing a website, the text content should be, unique per every single page you have. This will assist in reducing, the search engine crawl and potential flags leading to penalties. The challenge, of course, is consistently in brand presence. So when adding new news and other content that has a timestamp on it, avoid being repetitious in your language. Speaking of language, syntax, natural language helps in this case. It eliminates, the ability for duplicate language structure, across, your entire site. So cut out the old keyword phrases to eliminate, that distraction. Footer overload and multiple links to content on the sidebar or to external websites can add way too much verbiage to your site. So select from a limited number of footer links that provide value to the organization or the value to the potential visitor. Web developers, using JavaScript and HTML programming, often employ iframes to embed content within a page. This is all super archaic stuff. You should not be using anything that will cause friction with Google's algorithms. 6, multimedia embeds. The integration of audio and video, is a fast and easy way of inserting content onto a site. If, adding a video from YouTube or other widely circulated video site, it's always best to embed the code in a secondary page to reduce signals to Google that the value is native to the client's website domain, not YouTube. Keyword density. The risk of heavy keyword density on your articles and external content linked to the homepage of a site is relevant enough to review marketing collateral a couple of times before posting it to the World Wide Web. Keywords can create havoc, if you're not careful, if you overdo it. Another thing is if a website is part of a link exchange, set up a timestamp for that relationship and was forgotten about, that former backlink to that domain. Maybe it's been flagged for a penalty for being a link exchange. That can generate negative, search results based on that information out there. Let's talk about keyword misplacement. Like Google AdWords has instituted, automatic keyword recognition, which is why SEO and other sites are ranked accordingly to organic content. You want to rely on title keywords and H1 tags and H2 tags to expand the value of your keywords. Good content counts, and it's not against the domain. You don't need to be an exact match phrase every single time. So loosen up and write naturally and freely to answer your ideal customers' questions. Social media under optimization. Social media profiles provide a relatively, standalone approach to the retention of the benefits of SEO. The fact that social media profiles are, subject to internal search, makes it safer to post news and other marketing activities in social media rather than on your website. Internal search results are always top level within social media, making it, less likely that external content will be clicked on. So, utilizing social media a bit more can be helpful, but you want to use it in moderation. Stepping on to the next one. It's managing SEO and other digital content relevant to the website. That's going to adequately control the risk. Take some planning. Same with social media. On a site, social media tools can be used as well. Ads and other content media placed in, say, Facebook's news feed or Twitter's feed, rather than traditional right side panel, of your site, will enable, advertisers to avoid that negative inbound linkage to your site, as well as potentially boost, mass circulation of your social media post. Another way you might be over optimizing is volume link building. Over optimizing supporting text generation. Say like on an e-commerce site. Where it's default spits that information out. Some of those apps can create hundreds or even thousands of new links per week. And think about it, there's the two V's, there's velocity and volume, and those are kind of key when it comes to link building. if it appears that a website is suffering from, linking overload, you got to stop using that tool. This is all about automation in that point, whereas you want to focus on a natural link building service, like with SEO.co, we take into account diversity, volume, domain authority, and that link velocity with our client's link building so that it is natural and doesn't give that over-optimized signal to Google's algorithms. Another one, link exchanges. Those are still around, surprisingly. Mass link exchanges contain, an entire roadmap of bogus links. I'd avoid them at all costs because they can be copied and pasted and duplicated on tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages. Another one, malicious backlinks. Toxic backlinks are set up by competitors. Negative SEO without a website owner's knowledge. So this can, even though Google says it doesn't, it still can severely impact a site. So over optimization by via malicious intent with backlinking, that for an exact match keyword phrase, your money terms, that can have a negative impact. So that's also good to take a look at on a regular basis as well to make sure that your link profile looks natural and doesn't have these unnatural spikes in phrases that are linking back to your site. Last and not least of something that might be over optimizing your site, is plugin script overload. Like space junk, plugin scripting, can definitely slow a site down. There's a lot of them out there. The credo, garbage in, garbage out, really must be reduced to a minimum to ensure that a website, is running quickly and is not having, a bloat of code pushing itself out before the page actually loads. And maybe that's connected to a third-party domain that the script isn't hosted on and is pushing, content to your site. Or it's over optimizing third-party data in that activity. So there's a lot of headaches with plugin script potential as well. So the more of these you can avoid or eliminate, the better. And I think I'm going to wrap that up because we've run about 5 minutes long today. There's a lot of information. If you want to deep dive into your site to ensure that it's maximized for the best SEO practices, maybe you need a link audit or a site audit, come on over to SEO.co and schedule a time to have a free consultation. Learn how we can help you scale your ability to outwrite and outrank your competition.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.